This is the Idiot Entrepreneur Podcast with
John
and Kelley, where no one is smarter than you. We're all just a bunch of idiots figuring out business and life one day at a time.
What's up, idiots?
What's up, idiots? How's everybody doing?
How you guys doing today?
Good?
Great.
Okay.
How you doing today, Kelley?
I'm doing well. How are you, John?
I'm good. It's April 30th. It's almost the end. Well, it is the end of the month. Heading into May, and still ongoing.
Still ongoing. Okay.
Still chugging away.
Yep.
Still alive.
Barely.
Barely. Just stringing along.
So what are we going to talk about today?
All right. So today's topic is the power of saying no. And, this is about saying no. What do we say no to?
I say no to a lot of things, honestly. Most things, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yes, So, we're going to talk today about saying no and why you should say no. There's a lot of different scenarios for this.
And this sounds kind of silly, why are we talking about saying no? But the fact of the matter is a lot of people have a problem saying no, especially in business. It's very, you feel like it's taboo, maybe like you're not allowed to say no just because you have a business. And of course, this doesn't just apply to business, but, in lots of cases, people feel like they can't say no. They have to do this, they have to do that. But the fact is, it's your life and you can do what you want.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. And that's the
should.
point. And you should. I agree. So learning to say no, how to say no is a habit and a choice that you make. It's very easy to say yes, but learning how to say no is a habit that you develop over time and is a choice that you make. Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So that takes us into the two most common scenarios where you should say no. Absolutely. The first one's pretty obvious, is something you don't agree with, whether it's morally or ethically. Good example is if someone says, "Hey, Bob, go steal that car over there." What do you say? No.
Unless you believe that that's the right thing to do, in which case, I guess you say yes.
Yeah, exactly. So for most cases, though, you say no.
Right.
So something that you don't agree with, either morally or ethically, you should definitely say no. That's common sense. And the second scenario, which most people fall into, is people doing something that they genuinely do not want to do. That's where most people fall into the trap of saying yes and not saying no.
Now, I actually would play devil's advocate a little bit with that one.
Okay.
Because while I do agree with it, I do think that if you genuinely don't want to do something, particularly in a business sense, you shouldn't do it. But that being said, there are a lot of things that you probably don't want to do, you definitely should do, right?
Yeah,
like, for example,
there's some
working
scenarios
out.
of that.
Working out.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want to work out, but it doesn't matter. You should work out anyways, right? A lot of people don't feel like taking a meeting. They might not want to do this proposal or that, but at the end of the day, you should.
Yeah.
Not in all cases, but, I think you just want to really be careful when you say, don't do something you don't genuinely want to do, because there's a lot of things you're not going to want to do.
Yeah.
And if you just say no to everything and do, then you'll just do nothing.
Yeah, and I mean this in the context of, in terms of this. I guess I should have been more clear. It's something in terms of the social aspect.
Well, I know how you mean it, but I'm just trying to clarify for our very large audience.
Yeah, to the millions of people listening.
Yeah, I wouldn't want anybody to be, steered in the wrong direction.
Yeah. Okay, good point. Point well made.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So obviously there's certain things that you have to do, but obviously you can't, certain obligations that you have to do and that you can't say no to, even if you don't want to do them. But obviously this context is scenarios that are typically social scenarios that you would say yes to typically, but you can easily say no to.
All right, so let's get into the examples.
Yeah.
Enough of
All right. So Okay. So examples. First one, for example, Billy Bob wants you to go to a barbecue after work.
Does anyone really have a friend named Billy Bob?
They do,
I don't
yeah.
think so.
Out in the
No.
South, in the Midwest,
What do you know about the Midwest?
Oklahoma has a lot of Billy
I
Bobs.
don't know anybody named Billy Bob.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of Billy Bobs.
All right.
All right, so let's say your buddy wants to hang out or wants you to go to a barbecue after work when you have other real obligations, or if you have your own business and you know you have to do stuff for work, and you got to get that stuff done. Very commonly, people will say, "Yeah, sure, let's go hang out or let's go to the bar," and then what you realize is you made that obligation, even though deep down you know you don't want to do it, and you didn't want to say no because you don't want to offend that person.
Or, on the flip side, maybe you did want to do it
Yeah.
and you said yes, but you still should have said no,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Yeah, that's
You
a
should have
great,
been
that's actually a good
disciplined
point.
and you should have said no.
Yeah, that's like actually a great point because that ties in directly with discipline. Because if you're not disciplined, you're gonna say yes more often than you should be saying no.
Yeah, because I can promise you that, especially when Billy Bob's involved, that a barbecue or hanging out or going and doing something fun is pretty much always going to be more appealing than doing the work, working on building a business or personal development or whatever, things that actually take a lot of work and effort.
Going to the gym when you're 50 pounds overweight.
That too, yeah. I mean, anything is going to sound more appealing. So in those cases, it might be that you actually want to say yes, but you should in fact say no.
Yep.
So this is a little bit of a multi-pronged kind of topic.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I was looking at it from one perspective, but I obviously when you threw in the little twist, yeah, that changed things up here.
Yeah, twisted it up.
All right. So another example that people feel obligated to say yes to, and they should say no, are wedding invitations. I mean, how many wedding invitations do I get? Thousands.
None. It's real easy for you. You don't have to say yes or no.
I don't say yes or no because I don't get any. But I mean, in all seriousness, I've gotten wedding invitations in which I've said no because I generally did not want to go to. And part of you deep down says that you should say yes just to be kind or polite, but you have no interest or desire to actually go.
Yeah. No, I mean I was thinking, I thought you were going to continue talking, but
Yeah.
I think the point here is that, I mean, whether it's a wedding, whether it's going to the bar, whether it's hanging out with your parents, or it's doing whatever it is, you shouldn't feel obligated to do anything, really. I mean, besides those things that are going to take you to the next level, because at the end of the day, it's your life and you need to realize that your time is valuable, and when you're spending it doing this with this person, that with this person, going to this wedding, going here, going there, you're going to waste a lot of time. Maybe you'll have fun, maybe you'll have moments that you enjoy and can look back on and say, oh, that was nice, but you're definitely wasting time when it comes to, getting to that next level, reaching a goal, personal development, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, all that's going to do is prohibit you from ever achieving particular goals that you have set for yourself, if you have any, which you should. But I mean, if you always commit to something, you're going to always have your hands full, and for no good reason, usually.
And, I think very rarely in life is somebody going to regret that time they just they missed out on that barbecue. Like,
Yeah.
maybe at the time it seems like, oh man, this is really gonna suck if I don't
FOMO.
go. Right, you
FOMO.
you want to at the time, but I promise you a week later it's not going to mean anything.
Yeah.
And I can say from personal experience that all the times that John and I have said no to going out to eat, going and doing something on a Friday night, doing this, going here, going there, and have been disciplined instead and worked, I've not regretted any of that because it's gotten us to where we are. It's helped us progress towards our goals, and that's what I care about. So, I'm okay with missing out on those things because I have personally more important things that I want to do with my time.
Yeah, that's a great point, actually. And I mean, there's a lot of times where you're like, you want to say, screw it, let's just do this. And even though we know we shouldn't, but it just takes discipline, real discipline, which takes practice and time, by the way. It takes real discipline to say no. We don't need to we don't need to go out to a restaurant or go out to a bar or this or that, the other, when you actually have stuff to do.
Exactly.
So that leads into two quick points I want to get into here. Is in business, very commonly you have meetings and phone calls that you have to field or take, and reality is a lot of them, unless they're required, most of them you actually don't need to have. And where I'm going with this is that you don't need to waste your time by saying yes to meetings, attending meetings that you really don't, you don't need to go, which could have been summed up. The whole meeting could have been summed up in an email. You know what I mean? So I think certain meetings you could just say no to if it's a waste of your time and it's not critical. I think it's a tough one too because you're afraid of letting other people down. That also ties in with unnecessary phone calls. I hate talking on the phone unless I have to, personally. And same thing with meetings too. I don't think very many people look forward to them. So you got to learn how to say no in those scenarios in which that meeting or phone call could have been summed up in a text message or email. I'm not saying that you should never take phone calls or meetings because those are important to take and to have from time to time. But reality is, from our experience, a lot of them are just a time killer and a total time waste.
Yeah, and a lot of things could be consolidated. You could think about it that way rather than saying, no, I'm not going to have this meeting. Say, okay, I'll do this meeting. And, what can we fit into this meeting? Can we fit in everything that we need to talk about for the next month so that we don't have to do this again, every week?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think, to me, phone call says this is important. It has to be addressed now. An email or a text message is more acceptable for something that's not super time sensitive, generally speaking. But a phone call means this has to be addressed immediately. Same thing to me. A meeting says the same thing. So that's why I think in vast majority of meetings, a lot of it's just kind of fluff. Generally speaking, or it's updating you on this, that, or the other, and all that could have been said easily through an email.
I agree. So that's going to bring us to our next point, which are saying no to clients and customers. Yeah. And I think this one is probably the most difficult. That's the one we've had the most difficulty with.
Yeah, struggle with.
Especially in the beginning. We wouldn't say no to anything. If somebody had $1 they were willing to give us, we weren't going to say no. Yeah. It doesn't matter how inconvenient it was for us, how not worth it was for us, whatever. We thought we could not say no to a potential customer because I don't know why we thought that. I think it's just something in business you just kind of think. Yeah. I think you're initially kind of surprised that people will even give you money to do something. Yeah. And so you feel like, God, if I say no, like nobody's going to ask me to do anything anymore, or they're going to spread, I don't know, say terrible things about me. Who knows? But you can definitely say no to clients and customers. In fact, you should say no to clients and customers in a lot of cases. Right, John?
I agree. You also want to. Also, when we've turned down clients before, in my head, it always puts this weird thing in my head where I think, well, shit, that's like telling the world or the universe that you don't need money, and that's far from the truth. So that's not the case. But I always think you gotta say no to a client or customer when you know that you can't serve them the best.
Yeah,
or you're not going to actually really help them. That's one example. But also a request from a client or customer that overextends what you can do for them or is not a good match. But there's a lot of peculiarities with this.
Yeah, it depends what kind of business you have, but generally, you should have a very defined set of parameters as to what you will and will not do when it comes to clients or customers. So for us, in a cleaning business, because, we're serving clients, so we have a specific size, a specific frequency of cleaning, a specific type. Like if it's not within those parameters, we won't consider it. And if a client comes to us and they ask us for it, we'll say no if they don't fall within those parameters. Back in the day, we would have said yes. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
But we've learned to say no, and it's only benefited us. It actually allows us to grow more because we're not wasting time on clients that aren't really meaningful to our business.
Exactly. That's a really critical point. That ties into with customers that pay late or pay erratically or don't
rude.
pay or are really rude as shit, and you want to fire them or tell them to fuck off. And you don't want to say it in those words, but you want to say it without saying it. We've had clients like that are exceptionally rude and not worth. And we say, hey, you can have your money.
Yeah, you can say no to them. You don't have to take their money. You can say, you know what, no, thank you. We're gonna part ways. We've done it. It's hard. It's not. It's not an easy thing to do. It's something you'll feel weird about at first, but trust me, it'll make your life a lot easier.
Yep, I agree with that 1,000%.
Because that money comes with strings attached, and you don't need those strings. So you're better off just saying no.
Yep, that's 100% on point. Also customers that pay late, never pay, or pay erratically. You got to figure out how you can potentially help them without not cutting them off abruptly, and figure out what the problem is. If they just don't have a good reason or can't be honest with you, you got to cut them off. A great example of that would be, let's say, I don't know, you sell, jars of marmalade, and I don't know, you sell jars of something, and you have a customer that repeatedly eats all the marmalade or eats all the jam and then returns it and says, I want a refund. And you give them a refund. You do it another 3, 4, 5, 6 times. When do you cut them off and say, hey, this is a joke, right? I don't need you as a customer. You can take the first
you can get
5.
Your own marmalade.
Yeah, you can make your own marmalade. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, so I think that's a really good example. I mean, in our industry, we've had clients, not very commonly actually, but that it's happened where they'll abuse like our refund policy and try to get something for free repeatedly. And then you just got to say, hey, you've reached your max. We can't help you anymore.
Yeah, I think these are all really good points. One quick little point I want to make is that you can do all of these things in a way that's tactful. I think you said something, John, that was kind of, you said, you rather than cut someone off abruptly, you want to try to figure out a way to help them.
Yeah,
for example, with us, if a potential client comes to us and they say, hey, can you clean for us? And they give us their parameters and it doesn't work within what we would like to have as a client, yes, we'll say no, but we're not just going to say no and then hang up. We're probably going to try to offer them something else. Maybe we can recommend another cleaning company that can help them,
right?
Or try to do something for them. We don't just say no. So same thing with if somebody invites you to a barbecue, rather than just say no, screw you, I'm not coming. You could say, you know what, I'm not going to be able to make it, but maybe we can, do something together next week. I mean, there's a way to kind of let people down easy. And not ruin relationships, but also still say no and protect your time.
That's so true too. I mean, the point is with all these points that we're making is that we're not saying don't go to a barbecue, don't go to a wedding, don't go to a meeting, don't hang out with a friend. The point is make sure that you actually want to do it and just be honest about it.
Yeah, and that it's worth your time. I think the next point here really is just to be selfish with your time. Don't waste it, because at the end of the day, none of us really have all that much time in general, right? We only have a certain amount of time on Earth, and we don't know when that's going to end. So you really should be selfish with your time. You have to protect your time. You don't just let other people dictate what you're going to do with your time. Don't let life just kind of push you in one direction or the other, and take you here or there. You choose what you do, when you do it, and how you do it.
Bingo. Nailed it. I think, with being selfish with your time, we're not saying be a selfish person, but like Kelley was saying, protect your time. And because there's one thing that money can't buy, and it's time. You can use money to free up your time, but you can't buy back time that you lost. And it really adds up when you have a barbecue after a wedding and then a meeting and then Joe wants to go have drinks at the bar. All those things take up a lot of your time. You don't even realize it. But over the course of your lifetime, I bet you it adds up to years of your life wasted on shit that you really never really wanted to do. Probably years of your life go to that over the course of your lifetime.
Yeah, if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you don't even think about it, but I think that's true. So this all ties hand in hand with being direct and to the point with people. That's something I've struggled with personally for many years, and I feel like I'm at a point where I can tell someone something and just mean it.
Mm-hmm. It's hard. I mean,
yeah.
it's never easy to do, but like many things that we talk about, it's practice, right? Everything's going to seem difficult, when you've never done it before or the first few times that you do it, but just like a muscle, you work it out, it'll become stronger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a learned habit that you create and you get good at. So in the end, guys, if you learn how to say no to the right things for the right reasons, you're going to be much happier.
And you're going to have a lot more time for yourself to do whatever it is that you want to do. And you'll be thankful for that.
Yeah, you'll be really grateful for it. So this leads into our fun fact of the day.
Fun fact?
Oh, wait, what are we calling it?
It's the idiot fact of the day.
Okay, the idiot fact of the day.
Yes, we said we were going to do this every episode, but so far we've only done it one because we forgot.
Because we forgot. Yeah.
Like a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, like a bunch of idiots. That's true. That's why we call it idiot entrepreneur.
Yes, we are idiots at times.
Because remember, guys, everybody's learning. Everybody's an idiot and just trying to figure it out. That's what idiot entrepreneur is about.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's get into this idiot fact of the day.
Okay, so this is a fact. It says, I don't know what year this was, by the way, so don't ask me. A statue of Jesus in India had water mysteriously dripping out of its toes. Worshippers would collect and even sometimes drink the water. The source of the water was later found out to be a clogged toilet near the statue. So those people were just drinking toilet water.
Toilet water.
They thought it was
Jesus's
foot sweat, but it was actually, which is also gross.
Which is also disgusting, yeah.
Yeah, it was actually a clogged toilet that they were drinking.
Interesting idiot fact.
So don't be an idiot and drink toilet water.
Don't drink random sources of water.
And not clogged toilet water, my God.
Yeah, I know.
You could just drink regular toilet water.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be a lot safer.
Yeah.
Yeah, how about that, guys? Yeah, it just goes to further point, we're all idiots.
That's right. Some more than others.
By a lot.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. So if you guys got a lot of value out of this episode, we ask you to share it with someone else and spread the word because it helps us out. We spend time and money making these podcasts for you guys, and hopefully it brings you some real value in your day-to-day life.
Yeah. I mean, try saying no to something and let us know how it goes.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear.
Yeah, this is something you should practice on a daily basis and be mindful of because you'll realize you're saying yes more times than you should be. So something to practice. Spread the word. Thanks for listening to Idiot Entrepreneur, where we're all idiots just trying to figure it out, and we're reminding you that no one is smarter than you.
That's right.
All right.
Talk to you later, guys.
Till next time, guys.
Peace.
See ya.